Do you keep the promises that you make to yourself? Or do you just keep the promises that you make to everyone else, but not yourself? Now, this is a question that I got asked many, many years ago, and my answer was, actually, I don't keep the promises that I make to myself. I just keep the ones to other people, and I didn't think it was really important to keep the promises that I've made to me because it doesn't matter that much. Turns out that's very, very far from the truth. And see, the reason why is because the outcome here is to build self-trust. You have a relationship with yourself. I have a relationship with myself. Imagine it's kind of like you and yourself. It's like there's two people. I know that kind of seems a little bit weird, but it's how it works. And you have a relationship to build, to foster, to nurture, to create with yourself. And it sits on a foundation of, are you trustworthy? Can you be relied upon? Now, I want you to imagine that you've got a friend of yours, because let's just go external. Imagine you've got a friend and you can never rely on them. You ask them to come over, they say, yeah, I'll come over, but they don't come over. You say, hey, can you help me out with this thing? They say, yes, they don't help you out. How do you feel about them? You may still love them, but you would think, I don't really trust them, right? I can't rely on them. They're not really going to be there for me. Now apply that to yourself. Do you do that for you? Now, this happens in all the little ways that we relate to ourselves. For example, you say you're going to wake up early the next morning and you're going to meditate. Do you do it? Or do you just say you're going to do it and then you break your own promise? You might say, all right, well, I'm going to go to that group and I'm going to connect with those people and it's going to be really enriching, and you've been saying you're going to do it for a certain amount of time, but you don't do it. Or it could be as simple as you've been recommended a book to read that's going to improve your life and you say, I'm going to read that book, but it's still on the shelf. Whatever it is, whatever you say you're going to do, if you don't follow through with it, then there's a part of you that's paying attention, that's listening. And we're teaching ourselves that we're not reliable, we're not trustworthy, we're not being there for ourselves. And as a result of that, our relationship with ourselves kind of closes off. It kind of diminishes. And when we start to keep the promises that we make to ourselves, what happens is we're setting a foundation for self-respect. Self-respect is then the foundation for self-love. We can't have self-love if we keep on breaking the promises that we make to ourselves. And you deserve, and I deserve, and everyone in the world deserves to have a kind and loving relationship with themselves. And it starts with keeping the promises that you make. So if you haven't been keeping promises from now, that's okay. Just hit the reset button. You can start right now in this moment. Keep the promises that you've already made and make sure that the next promise that you make to yourself, you keep it. You follow through. You show up for you because you matter. Now, if you've taken away anything from this video, I'd love to invite you to come along to a live global broadcast that we're running where we'll be talking about ideas like this and many more. And we'll talk about how we can apply them to ourselves and how we can apply them to the lives of others. So if that sounds like something that we'd love to be a part of, go ahead and click the link below to find out more. I look forward to seeing you on the other side.